I'm getting a lot of emails from fans, and they're asking, they're saying, Jay, tell us a bit more about your personal real self. Okay, Chinese chicken balls, beef and broccoli, Fu Manchu. I love Chinese food. I do. And in fact, just the other day, I ordered some Chinese food. It was delivered, and of course, everything was great. Came with that red sauce that glows in the dark. It's got a half-life of 1,000 years. You know that red sauce. Along with everything else, what did I get? Cheap chopsticks. These are the cheap chopsticks. You know them well, the disposable kind. And one of the big things that makes them different from the ones in the restaurants, of course, is that they don't have any of that funky writing, those little symbols on them. But luckily, being a magician, if I want, I can make the symbols appear. Watch this. Watch carefully, just like this. Boom. Look at that. All those funky symbols, not just on one side, but on both sides of the chopstick. I get all that funky pattern to appear. Now, I did it on that one. Question is, can I do it on this one? Watch, just a shake. And just a, hey, wake up. Okay, well, that one's not working. So look, gonna have to do a transfer here. I'm gonna get some of the characters to jump off one side of this chopstick. I'm hoping right like boom. Nah. So now I only have writing on one side of that one side of that one. Real magic. If you're a regular subscriber to my YouTube channel, then you know I'm a big fan of the classic paddle move. It's one of these beginner level moves that kids learn and people learn when they're getting the magic, and then immediately run off and do it with props that look weird and suspicious and people want to examine and they can't. And it sucks. So for me, the big challenge has always been, how can I use this really sweet move in a way that ends clean so people can examine when you are done at the end? So let's look at this. Let's break it down. So first, what you're going to need is you're going to need a couple of your disposable wooden, I don't know if they're balsa wood or made from gorilla pine. I don't know what it is, but these chopsticks. And what I've done here is I got a pen, actually a very thin tip indelible marker, and I just wrote some symbols. And these are just some crazy symbols. You can, of course, go online and find authentic, I'm sure, Asian iconographic symbols if you want. This is just a square plus sign. This is the eye that reminded me of my first girlfriend. This is an arrow that reminds me of an arrow. Okay, so you've got these written, and they're only on one side. Now, the paddle move. I'm holding this, and you can hold between thumb and finger or between your fingers and your thumb here like this. And what I'm doing is I'm just turning it. I'm just pushing it forward, okay, and pulling it back, forward, back. But this small action is covered by the larger action of my hand turning side to side, okay? So I'm just pushing it when I go from one to the other. But boy, it looks nice. Now notice, here's a hot tip for you. A lot of youngsters these days, they learn the move and they learn to go up and down like this, but this is actually more likely to flash. You're more likely to give away on your far right, whereas if you keep it this way, much less chance of it flashing. So have it run, I guess, this way rather than this way, the fancy language, okay? So you start. You take out the two chopsticks. Notice that these can be used as magic wands, okay? You could even, if you want, have one that doesn't have any marks on either side, a third chopstick. Have someone that look at that earlier in your magic show. Use it as a magic wand or whatever, and then later on ring in one of these and then add this into the thing as well. So in a sense, they think they've already examined at least one of these, kind of a cool thing. Or just come out like this. Now, if you're holding the two chopsticks and you've got your thumb lying across both, what's really cool is you can do the move with both, which means you can very fairly show these son of a guns that they are obviously, and don't overdo it, don't underdo it, but I got a couple of cheap chopsticks, as you can see. They don't have the fancy writing, of course, on them like they do in the restaurants. That's all I need to say. Then carefully put that down, okay? You don't want to turn over prematurely. And there's lots of ways. I mean, you can give it a shake to have them sort of appear, just doing that roll over with your thumb. I kind of like the contrast of making a circle here while doing this, and it just sort of gently appears. I think it's really pretty. So boom. Then you do the move to show them on both sides, okay? Very magical. I mean, that itself is a lovely piece of magic, and it's organic. It's not like some weird prop from a magic store. Then you take the next one. Again, careful not to flash again. And again, I do the circle, but this time I pretend it's not working. What the? And you got great motivation to look on the other side. Oh, that's weird. It must be, come on, it must be broken. Okay, well, look, let's do this. I come over, and I'm going to go 1, 2, and of course on 3, I'm going to roll. Well, let's do it this way. I find it a little bit better with, put the one with the marks on top, on 1, 2, and on 3, and I'm not like this. Perfect contrast again. I think it works really nicely. 1, 2, on 3, I'm going to roll this one once and roll that one once. And all together, 1, 2, boom. Boy, it looks good like that. And now you show, so now the writing is only on one side here. only on one side here. And because of the way I've structured the effect, you can immediately hand out everything and it can be closely examined.